adventurous destinations, I think Machu Picchu is the first place that comes to my mind. I do want to preface this by saying that on this tour, the average altitude is going to be about 9,000 feet and upwards of 12,000. So because of that, this is considered a level 4 in terms of activity. It's a very active tour specifically because altitude sickness is a real thing. You do, however, have very experienced tour managers that are used to bringing Americans to Machu Picchu, and so with that, they know the proper protocol. You'll probably have a very leisurely start to the day where you'll get accustomed to the altitude difference. But that is something to keep in mind. I would hate for you to go on this trip and then be unable to handle the altitude. So now this tour itself, where you're going to be going, you're going to be doing quite a few inner flights here because we want to make sure that you see all these amazing places. We're going to start with the first couple of days in Lima, 2 days in Sacred Valley. Day 5, we're going to visit Aguas Calientes, and then days 6 and 7, we'll go to Cusco, and then days 8 and 9, we're finishing in Puno. We also have a post-tour extension here, actually, where we go to the Marañón River, and then Iquitos, Nauta. So all more to come on that as I continue with the tour. So this is a small group exploration, which is a maximum of 24 travelers. So this is a very intimate experience that this tour offers, which is kind of different from some of the other ones we're talking about, where you get 44 people upwards of that, or max on that trip. So this is a very intimate experience. A few things to note. So like I said, the highest elevation, so 12,500 feet. The currency is the Peruvian sol, and time difference is quite manageable. It's the same as Eastern Standard. Same as Eastern Standard. So and then for this one, if you're planning on traveling to Machu Picchu and doing this trip, definitely bring some comfortable walking shoes. You won't need to bring any formal dress wear, but just make sure you have good walking shoes. All right, so. The first day, typically on our trips, the first day is going to be allocated to just getting to the destination, relaxing, unwinding. We don't want to have a bunch of planned activities when you just set your bag down. So you're going to be welcomed here. This is definitely the treasure of South America, and you're going to find that the city center itself is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which is quite rare. And for good reason. And so, of course, on the first full day, on day 2 in Lima, we'll take you on a beautiful tour through the city center in Lima. It kind of has this sort of colonial feel to it, with these beautiful cathedrals that you'll go and visit. The San Francisco Monastery is one of the places that we'll visit to start off, and it actually underneath it has these centuries-old catacombs that we'll get to go inside and check out. In addition to that, we'll go and visit the Basilica Cathedral and the Casa de Aliaga. This is actually a former house of a conquistador, so we want to make sure that. Now, we're really going to open up into some of the more natural beauty of what this area has to offer. So we're going to fly to Cusco, and then it's located actually right in the heart of the Inca civilization. The Incas, a very prominent group in history because they were one of the few people to defeat the Spanish when they were colonizing. So one of the places that we'll stop once we arrive is this Paisac village, and this is a small village nestled right in the heart of the mountains. But one of the things that we do is we'll take you through the markets that they have there and give you the opportunity to purchase local crafts and goods and connect with the local people, therefore supporting their autonomy as well. So you're traveling responsibly. The potatoes actually originally from Peru, where 3,000 different potato varieties are grown. So like potatoes, it was not the Irish. This is a highlight for sure, and Ollantaytambo ruins. It's one of the highlights that people come home and talk about. It's noted for, and when you think of Machu Picchu, you might think of these sort of like terraced theme that you envision in your head. Well, Ollantaytambo ruins are actually the site where that is. So This is actually the site of where they defended and defeated the Spanish. And it has these beautiful ruins that have been very well preserved. This is kind of the gateway into Machu Picchu, so people that visit Machu Picchu inevitably travel through these ruins. But it's absolutely beautiful. We'll also go and do a class in this area as well. This is the Pablo Seminario's Ceramic Studio, where you'll learn about the centuries-old tradition of making pottery with the locals that actually live there. So we'll walk you through. You know, if you've done a pottery class before, this is actually the real thing. So I took it in high school. This is definitely much higher elevated than that. A lot of different activities that you do. Well, traditional weaving. We actually visit a local women's co-op here, and we learn all sorts of different crafts and things and traditions that are important to their culture. Growing, harvesting, weaving, and they'll be dressed in the traditional outfits. This is the Picchu community. And then here is Machu Picchu, and this is, you know, one of the most popular bucket list destinations that we offer. And you know, this, again, just keep in mind that there is an elevation factor here to be noted. So here's another picture, and we'll take you through the windows here as we take a train. On either side of the windows, you're just going to be looking at this beautiful scenery that you've come so far for. Here's another picture. You're going to kind of walk through with your tour manager, and they'll be explaining some of the history and maybe some of the lesser known facts about these majestic ruins that have become so popular across the world. Another lesser known thing is that you might see some alpacas here actually, and they'll be marveling at the view just like you will be. We actually stay at a 5-star property here. It's the Sumac Machu Picchu Hotel, and has a spa. It has a lot of beautiful offerings as well. And it's right in the middle of the Andes too. So does anyone know what animal family the alpacas are part of? Camel, yeah. So yes, yep, they're part of the camel family, and they actually come in 20 different natural colors too. And we will show you all of them. I'm just kidding. So we have an optional here, an optional experience, meaning that you would pay additional for this, but an early morning Machu Picchu experience where the cloud is just starting to dissipate as the sun comes in. This is really where you get that dramatic view of Machu Picchu. Then we'll continue on. We'll go to Cusco, and at this point, once we arrive to Cusco, we're going to allow you time to wander through Cusco at your own pace. We give you free time to explore as you please. Maybe you want to enjoy Peruvian coffee, and that shouldn't be a maybe for you, that should be a must, because that's really one of the things that I'm known for. Or you can go to this stunning planetarium that they have and just kind of sit back and just relax and look at the beautiful imagery. Then we're going to visit on day 7. We're going to start the morning with a tour of Cusco. Now, after you've explored it on your own, we're going to visit San Pedro Market, the Great Concha Temple, the Plaza de Armas, and the Cusco Cathedral. Here's the San Pedro Market. Think of a bustling market filled with color and culture and people yelling at each other across from you. This is a very lively and vibrant place to go and visit. And I think it's a great way to start this tour. Here's Great Concha Temple. This is actually the most important temple in the Inca Empire. It was estimated to have been built around 1200 AD. And now it's still standing in this beautiful magnificence that you'll get to go and look at yourself. The Cusco Cathedral is also very well known as well. And actually, its exterior is quite beautiful, but once you go inside is where it's really going to open up for you. This is an example of a choice on tour. One, you can go to this fortress, which is important to the Incans, or you can go to San Juan. Either of those two, totally up to you. And then we'll continue on and start in Puno, which is right alongside Lake Titicaca. That's the name of the trip. You'll have time here to meet the locals as you kind of explore the city on your own. You'll encounter kind of a sort of blend of indigenous and Spanish culture here. As you're walking through these streets and right next to Lake Titicaca. Again, we're staying at a beautiful We have beautiful accommodations here, the GHL Hotel Lago Titicaca. We give you a lot of free time here as well. The amenities at the hotel are quite endless, to be honest, so you could just stay in the hotel if you want. Or you can explore and go to some of the wonderful places that the city has to offer. Another really fascinating place, and one of the things that really stands out to me is the floating islands. These are actually several tribes make their homes here, and we'll actually take you out on a boat and show you the different islands, and they're quite small. And we actually have a visit here with a Peruvian family, where you kind of get a glimpse at what their daily life is like. On day 10, we'll take you to the Larco Museum, and we're gonna fly to Lima to enjoy this. And it's actually in a former mansion, which was built on the site of a pre-Columbian temple, and has a collection of ceramics and tapestries and artwork dating over 3,000 years old. And so we want to take you through the museum. And then with that, the tour is going to end. We do have an optional 5-day, 4-night Peruvian Amazon cruise as well, if that's a bucket list for you to look at the Amazon. Here's the ship that we use. And of course, you'll see a variety of wildlife. And the Amazon is a place if you've been on a safari before, and you've probably thought about the Amazon. If you've been to Africa or Kenya or Tanzania, this is definitely puts several candles onto that. So beautiful place to go and visit, but that's entirely optional. So for this trip, it's August 6th to the 15th, 2026. The deposit is $698 per person, plus an optional $549 cancel for any reason insurance. The deposit is due December 30th, 2025. It's fully refundable, including the insurance, June 6th, 2026, with the final payment being May 8th, 2026. Total with airfare and all the inner flights and hotels and everything, it's $49.99 per person for the double occupancy. So we do have single supplements, and you'll see what the prices are for that if you want to travel alone. But it'll be right underneath the pricing on this page.